Today on the podcast, we're speaking to Toby. He's got 3 coffee shops, 2 vans and a coffee roastery business, helping himself to £135,000 per calendar month. He's just about getting by. He's working so incredibly hard, as many people do in hospitality and leisure. But how do they turn it into a really commercially profitable enterprise? I'll tell you now, it's very difficult to do because I'm in that space, but I've got some great ideas. Strap yourselves in. Hello campers, welcome back to the Business Broadcast. This is the podcast designed to help grow your business, and today we are speaking to Northshore Coffee, doing around 135 smackaroonies a month. They've been going just under a decade. They've got 30 staff, but 8 core team members. JB, welcome back to the Business Broadcast.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't realise I'd been anywhere to be welcomed back. I like your new branded merch you're wearing.
Oh, yeah, this is...
I'm seeing this all over the gaff. You're loving this, aren't you?
What I'm trying to do is I was thinking, how many uniforms can I wear on the podcast? And I'm representing today Interaction, which is a company we've just bought.
Yes.
You know, it's one of
You're
my
a fan
hobbies.
of this one, aren't you?
Well, I'm a fan of all
of
of
them, but
all of our organisations. But this is Interaction, which is a great business that goes in and helps with customer service, secret shopping, which I wanted to talk about. I've just done it on all my businesses.
Have you?
Yeah, and in fact, I spoke to Chuds. I don't know if Chuds can be on in a sec.
Yeah.
But we are going to put this out as a video on probably the main channel, where I'm going to get the secret shoppers in.
Oh, are you?
The Interaction team that have audited us, and they've done 7 mystery shops or secret shops on our businesses, and some of them didn't fare well.
Really?
And I think it would be good to discuss that and slag off my own businesses.
So have you actually heard the feedback yet?
Yeah, I've got them.
Oh, wow.
And I think secret shopping is one of the best things you can do for your business. If you've got a place where customers go.
Yeah.
So a coffee shop, this would be great. Absolutely great. And you get like a 35-page document that we've built into some software that scores, did you answer the phone? Was there unnecessary signage? Was the place clean? Were the tables clean? Were the staff having name badges on? Was uniforms presentable? Did the staff have good posture? Was the food good? Was the coffee hot enough? Were the lights out? Were their bulbs out? How was your general
they
feel?
really go for it then.
Yeah, and it comes out with an overall score. What was the good quality of the website? How did they answer the phone? Did they answer the email inquiry quick enough? Did they answer the Facebook message quick enough? And that goes into a document. And I know companies like KFC are mystery shopping each short store a couple of times a week.
Really? Are they?
A couple of times a week.
Wow.
And big hotels.
In-house team, or do they outsource it?
No, you need to outsource it. You can't do it in-house because something else gets in the way.
Yeah.
So you just put it off.
Yeah.
But we do it for centre parks. We do it for lots of holiday parks. Interaction have just quoted up to do some work with Atlantis at the Palm to do some staff training there. So we're truly international. And the Interaction team set us up Camp Beaumont in Asia. They're setting up Camp Beaumont in the UAE. So we've got about 30 people in the Interaction team that do amazing customer service training and come up with concepts to improve your business, staff training. But what I want to talk about is secret shopping, because whether you've got a builder's merchant, a coffee shop, or a big holiday park, or a visitor attraction like me, anywhere you have a location where customers interact with you, whether it's B2B or B2C, doing regular secret shops, I guarantee will improve your profit and loss. And if you
go on a Saturday, don't you? To quite just drop into a lot of your places,
I do that.
But they're probably like,
let me tell you a little story.
Jimbo's here.
Well, let me tell you a little story. So I went to Marsh Farm on Sunday. That was one of the ones I went to, and also the Rossi Parlour. I was in the Rossi Parlour, and it was a queue going around the corner. It was a sunny day, the first time the sun has shown its face in 2025, and it was really busy. Most people coming in for ice creams, and I saw an old couple come up, and they went, "Do we have to queue up in that queue if we want to buy hot food?" Right? And someone said, yes.
Oh, no, they didn't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because that was the rule. And there's 5 tills there. So I've, listening to that, going and secret shopping my own business, I saw them just walk out and take that money elsewhere. We probably lost 30, 40, 50 pounds worth of sales. And then asked the manager, how often does that happen? Oh, every day. So the next day, we printed in-house, because we do all of our printing in-house. Those of you who are regular viewers, you know that. I'm going to put an overlay shot of this on the edit. I'll edit to you. I'll send it to you now, Chuts. But I'm going to show it to you, JB. This is I think business. So that's the current setup of the unit. We'll put this on the edit, and you see there's no signs above. So we've got 5 tills. Put a sign up saying hot food only, queue here. All the others are for ice cream.
Yeah.
Because the kitchen was quiet. There was tables and chairs available for hot food, but the ice cream was going like gangbusters. But people that wanted to order hot food just don't want to queue up for that just to get an ice cream. So I'll quickly show you in the lovely edit, and then we'll put this up just so you understand.
So you actioned that. You saw it on Sunday and actioned it on Monday.
Can you see that signs above?
Yeah.
So you'll remember this, Chad. I'll send that to you in the break. But I want to, because we print that in-house and we put it up in maintenance, that's probably cost us about £4.50 to implement that.
Yeah.
And that will have immediate sounds. Now, I'm very busy, Monday to Friday. Back in the day, I would walk around and walk the factory floor and see stuff and do stuff and listen to customers. I'm a different guy now. I'm speaking to solicitors, doing deals, interaction. I'm doing a CEO type job. So I only really get to see that stuff at weekends when my phone isn't doing its usual 100 calls a day. I'm not on a Teams call. I'm not I'm not doing stuff like this. I've got a different career now. But that stuff is so important. Walking the floor is really important. And one of the things that come out of a mystery shop, and I'll tell you how powerful that is. So we've got Roller City, which is our roller skating rink. Sorry to be annoying here in the edit. Is Stevie editing this or you, Chuds? Don't know yet. But Stevie, if you're editing this, could you just put a shot up of Roller City so customers can see this listeners can see this if they're watching
customers,
us.
He's future forecasting already. Subliminally selling you here. So, into action or a roller skating rink, you say? Come on now.
Well, anyway, so we got this roller skating rink and it's quite cool. It looks like a nightclub in there. Hopefully you get that vibe from the picture. And we've recorded some of our podcasts in there, so regular viewers will know it. So all the staff are all in black, right? So with the Roller City logo on there. And what the secret shopping said is, I didn't know who was a member of staff on the ice rink, the people that are making sure everyone's behaving correctly.
Right, yeah.
Because they're in black, so they all mix in with the other people roller skating. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Now, years ago, when I started Partyman World, I chose purple because I wanted us to look distinctly different from all of our customers. In 20 years, I forgot those tiny little things. And that's secret shopping. And me and Aaron went, that is so important and such a cost-neutral thing to change and improve that probably will make customers feel a lot better that, especially a 6-year-old roller skating, they're looking for assistance if they're worried.
Yeah.
And just a black T-shirt amongst 300 people. And that's why obviously we have high vis and stuff, but we're not going to make them wear high vis, but we need to take that little bit of detail and fix it. And, it took too long to get food. And we've done it over school holidays, which is when we're stretched,
That's what you want to do as well, don't you?
Yeah,
you don't want to test them when you think they're going to pass the test, do you? You want to see it at its toughest or worst.
And so what I think is really powerful about secret shopping as well, when you're the owner of the business or the manager of the business, when you are putting your team down, look, we're not good enough. I don't know, it's like your parents having a go at you.
Yeah, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse.
But when, but someone else says the exact same piece of advice your parents saying, but they're not attached to you, somehow we listen more.
Yeah.
And the same is like when your wife tells you something, you just think, no.
Zone it out.
But I don't know if someone
down the pub.
That's
this
great.
Guy's a genius.
Yes, exactly that. And I think that's what secret shopping does. And it makes your teams more competitive to try and get the scores up. And because it's completely independent to your team, your management, your in-house, I think you get better results. But you got to do it regularly. And for a few £100, I think we're talking to Interaction to make it super affordable so that people can do it every month, because then the teams, they don't know who's doing it, when they're doing it. It's different people each time. So there's no, what's that bias language? Well, it's bias, but political bias, I suppose. It's like that same person seeing the improvements. You want the naked eye looking at it all the time. And because we do it for Centre Parts, because we do it for, other big brands, we pull all that knowledge, seeing who's the best in class, rank you, and it comes up. It's just really good. So I suppose my little pitch to people is, if you've got a business like that and you would like Interaction to help you, direct message me on Instagram. And if you're a regular listener to this show, we might even do a secret shop for you for free.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
I know. Just say, I listen to the show and I think James Burt and James Sinclair are amazing, attractive men.
It's got to be all of that. It's got to be all of that to get a discount.
So I'm at James Sinclair Entrepreneur.
Oh, here he goes.
You can do the same.
What do secret shoppers think of online bullying? Can we get interaction on the phone right now? What's the CEO called?
And where do they need to go if they want to follow you on Instagram?
Just follow him and you'll find me.
You can find him at James Burt Official.
Which has become the butt of jokes I'm getting bullied on LinkedIn by random strangers. People I'm not even connected with. They're like, oh, lol, James Burt Official's here on LinkedIn.
Because we've spoken about James Burt Official being such a stupid decision of yours when you first done it on Instagram.
How is it?
Thinking you're the Spice Girls or Michael Jackson or something.
I love your reference point of modern day culture.
I kept on doing it. People found it funny. Now probably think, oh, that joke's old. So I'll keep it going and then...
It'll come back in fashion.
Yeah. Like your clothes.
Oh, I knew it. Set it up and he'll just knock them out of the
park. Okay, well, I think
we should get interaction to rate this podcast.
Well, they all of the Camp Beaumont team and the podcast are listening to all of our stuff.
And they hate it. They universally think it's awful.
No. We made a video about Camp Beaumont, Chuds. All of the Camp Beaumont team have seen it and they really like it. That's why I think content marketing is such a good recruitment tool. I know I always talk about this, and it's good for we are geographically spread over the whole country. Our head of marketing for shout out to Harriet that works for Camp Beaumont lives in the Lake District. We've got people in Norwich. We've got people in Brighton, we got people in Croydon, and I think
international as well, isn't
it? Now, Malaysia, Singapore, and I think me making this stuff, they certainly understand the way I think and culture, and I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I had someone who wanted to do a podcast the other day, and one of their things was, does podcast help you to recruit better talent? And I was like, well, let me tell you, I know a wise man who tells me it does.
Yeah. Well, I think not just podcasts, I think writing books, newsletters.
Yeah, but that didn't help me in a sales pitch, so I just swerved that bit. I was like, podcasts are great.
Yeah,
well, the number one recruitment tool, podcast.
Yeah. What amazes me, how much. So I was with James Lascelles, friend of ours, who I made a TV documentary pilot with 8 years ago.
Right.
He's that good. He was the executive producer on Britain's Got Talent and the X Factor.
Oh, he's that guy. Yes.
Well, you've met him, haven't you, in London? Worked directly for Simon Cowell and has now left TV just because he can see the writing on the wall.
God, that's interesting.
He can see the writing on the wall and he set up his own production company. And me and Chud are talking to him about making a 6-parter TV style show that we would put on YouTube, but possibly try and sell it to Netflix and Amazon and whoever as well. We would be interested in being on a streamer, but we're not bothered about being on TV. They get tiny audiences. Like if 700,000 people watch an episode or 500,000 people watch an episode of a TV show,
that's huge.
That's seen as good.
It's huge, yeah.
And me and Charts, we've made videos that have had over 1 million views, and it's me and that good-looking chap over there.
Who no one can see on the camera.
But he sounds great.
The times they are changing. How did you take the feedback, although it's independent, to the rest of the companies?
I agree. So the Rossi Parlour came top out of, we done 7 of our sites.
Right.
There was things in there that really annoyed me.
Like what?
Not answering. So I go through and look for the cost neutral stuff because that's the things that wind me up.
Cost neutral, like what? Define
if something didn't look good enough.
And it could do.
Yeah, and that's £100,000 day out. That's me. That's a macro thing.
Yeah.
I've got to find the money.
It needs a new ride.
Yeah. It was a bit, whatever. But the micro stuff, like not having name badges, uniforms weren't presentable, toilets were dirty, the sign was out of date. We didn't answer a Facebook message quick enough. We didn't answer the phone.
How does that physiologically?
It winds me out.
Does it?
But that's what it should do.
Yeah, okay, because a lot of people are like, you got to be neutral. You got to be neutral.
No, this is designed to wind you up.
I remember,
and if it doesn't,
in 2019, walking around Marsh. I think I recorded a podcast with you, and we walked to. I can't remember. We recorded it. We had to go between different rooms, and there was litter on the floor, and you just switched. Like your whole demeanor just changed. Like, why is that there?
Oh, it just fun.
Why?
So I went to Marsh Farm on Sunday, and they were doing a clear out, and they put a skip in the farm from customer view, and things like that. That's cost neutral.
Yeah.
Why was the skip there?
Yeah.
And then the other thing we've got lots of at Marsh Farm is crowd barriers, which we use for fireworks night. But the team go trigger happy on crowd barriers. They just put crowd barriers.
Everything's behind a crowd.
Let's just put crowd barriers there to stop people getting there. Well, actually, should we sort out the problem? Now, some of it's money, and that's down to me, and I need to fix that. But there's other things that are not.
So could you, when it was someone that's it's not independent, I guess it's interdependent of those companies, is that part of the value? Because it comes across, it's delivered because they are coming from a neutral perspective. They've got no axe to grind.
So interaction, put all the report together, come up with the solutions, but they have independent shoppers go out and do it. So they find the shoppers. So that's there's always that level of independence there.
Oh, so that's really like not connected to you at all. So it's someone who's like a freelance secret shopper.
Correct.
And they've got no inclination. Well,
absolutely.
The guy who owns this company now also owns this farm, so I better say some nice stuff about it.
And that's important because otherwise, this person's been here every single week.
Who's that guy with the massive glasses, the moustache and a fake nose?
Taking lots of photos.
I'll have one of everything, please, at the concession stand. Doesn't feel quite right, does it?
So, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a knock at the door, though.
How often are you going to do it?
We're going to do it very regularly now because I think, there are some things that we used to do it all the time. We cut it because we're idiots, because, we want to save the cost. But I think it's one of the most powerful investments you can do in your business.
So sunk
for a few hundred, like you've got that really well scientific put together report that gives you the outcome of what's not good about your business through
independent eyes.
Yeah. And I think what it does is it really pushes your management team up so much more.
Also, not that you want people to come into work thinking they're going to be tripped up, but if you think you're not entirely sure who's coming through the door, it's like why restaurants, if the critic comes in, then everyone just ups their level 5-10%. But if you never know when the critic is coming, you just have to be on your A game, which you should be.
Yeah.
Because someone's average Tuesday to a farm park might be this kid's best day out ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Knock at the door. It's time for this.
Yeah, come on.
Come on. You're getting more old school DJ each and every day.
Stevie in our office, who does all our short form editing, and I think sometimes does this pod, doesn't she, Chance?
Yeah, he ain't listening. He don't care.
She was singing along to this with her
was
headphones
she?
on.
Oh, good old Stevie. I love Stevie.
She must listen to it 10 times a day.
Oh, can you imagine how annoying that must get. Go on, and how many, what have you got?
Well, I'm going to go interesting fact.
Are you? I was going to
I'll put this on my newsletter. Kodak. I was talking to Chance about this. Do you know Kodak are?
Yeah, the camera company.
It's a completely made up word. Did you know that? It's not a surname. It's nothing. So they literally wanted, when they created this, said, we want a name that no one else uses that could be said in any language that would be easy to spell and only be 5 letters. Kodak. Who copied them with that analogy or that thesis or that theory?
Uber?
Maybe, but a premium brand. I'm a big fan of it.
Costco.
It's not a premium brand.
It is in your mind.
But it is in my mind. No, Rolex. Rolex is a completely made up word, has no association to the owners. And they stole the idea from Kodak.
Really?
They wanted a 5-letter word that was easy to spell, that could be easy to say in any language, which Rolex and Kodak is.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know, idiosyncrasy, which is, would be quite a hard word, I know, for someone that's not, it's a hard word to say in English in some ways. But I think that's fascinating. So Rolex was a company called Wilsmer and Gehring or something like that. Two German guys started it, moved to the UK, and they sort of really got going in 1910, just as World War I was starting. And they wanted to drop any association because people were quite racist towards Germans.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In the 1900s, or in the earlier 20th century, should I say. And they wanted something to be easy. And they were literally doing anagrams to come up with a word. And I just find that fascinating. And I started thinking Apple, Nike, Costco, Tesco.
I like the ones where it becomes so synonymous with the thing it represents that you think that's the thing. Like jacuzzi is a brand name, Hoover is a brand name, but you don't realise it because it's so synonymous.
The jacuzzi, it might not be a jacuzzi brand, absolutely. But I thought that having that Kodak is completely made up, nothing to do, and Rolex completely made up. I thought, is there something that we could learn from that? Not that I want entrepreneurs and business owners to be focusing on brand marketing. I want them to do direct response stuff and, generate cash flow. But, it has worked for Nike. Yeah. It has worked for Rolex, and it's certainly worked for Kodak as well.
I guess maybe the lesson for all smaller businesses is become so synonymous with the thing that you do that when anyone says that thing, you're the first name that pops into their head.
I think about two of our brands. When I started out Jimbo, everyone said, we got Jimbo doing the parties, or we got Jimbo. It was really easy to say.
About anywhere in Essex. Like I've got mates who are like probably 5-10 years younger than me, and everyone's been to a Jimbo party. Yeah. Everyone still remembers
You never had to remember, what was that guy's name? Like, it's really quick. And I think that's what we have at Rossi as well. It's ROSSI, easy to say, quick to remember, easy to spell. I mean, we were walking along outside Rossi's, and I was hearing someone on the phone, we're just outside Rossi's. I was with James Martin because he came with me on Sunday because, we're like husbands. And he went, does that make you feel proud? I went, it does. Yeah. Because it's easy. People don't say they're on the seafront around there, which they could say, I'm just on the seafront. We're just by Rossi's.
And everyone knows where it is. Yeah, yeah. It's like a destination, isn't it?
Yeah. And I do think, not that I want people to worry about all that, but I do think
worth bearing in mind, though, isn't it?
It is worth bearing in mind. That's the point. Worth bearing in mind. What's yours?
Well, I have been, without me getting political, I have been listening to Elon Musk on Joe Rogan. Yeah. And interesting facts or quotes. Did you know?
Let's not talk about Joe because we knocked him off the top spot last week.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
On Global Podcasts.
Yeah. We were the biggest. We took a chunk out of his 400 million monthly listens. But they have found, so this, whether you like him or not, and whichever political side of the fence or the
we're a politically neutral podcast. We never talk about politics.
but not. But fine. And Joe Rogan, Elon Musk has been brought in. For those who have been maybe living under a rock, so President Trump comes in and he brings in Elon Musk as the head of Doge, the Department of Government Efficiencies, which just so happens to be a meme coin, which is now worth like several $1 billion, even though Elon pretends he doesn't know. He's like, how much is it worth today? I don't know, really. It's like, shut up, you don't know. It's worth like $4 billion. It's like one of the top trading currencies in the United States, right? So they've been looking, and Elon's team have been looking at inefficiencies within the government. Now, again, whether you sit on the red side, the blue side, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But even if it is in the middle, they reckon they've saved $2 trillion worth of costs already. Wow. $2 trillion worth of costs. The servicing of debt on the American national debt is more than the entire budget of the military every year. They spend more on servicing debt than they do on defence across the board, which is the biggest budget that they have as well, by the way. And they have found something like 20 million people who are dead are still receiving money from the government. Oh, 20 million. One of them has been dead for 100 years.
I mean, did hear that, but
maybe I'll put my false flag up if you've watched the video of Trump on. But it's staggering. Here's the crazier thing. This will get you right. It's not an interesting fact or quote. It's just crazy. And like how things work and how inefficiency can creep in over time. Circling it back to what you said, not making it political. They had effectively like the Bank of America or the state bank, whatever it is, or the Fed. The Fed. There you go. The Fed, when they send out money, big chunks of money to other government departments, there is no reference code of what that money is or where it has gone.
One more time. Say that again.
So when the Fed send out money to the other government departments.
So they send it to the military.
There is no code of what that money is being used for, where it's going or where it's going. They cannot track the money to the point where there was $12 billion was sent to the Navy to buy 6 new submarines.
Wow.
Makes sense, right? About $2 billion a submarine. Cool. We're all good with that. 3 years later, there's no submarines. So someone turns around and goes, hang on, where's the submarines? We didn't get the submarines. Oh, okay.
Well, maybe they're
Where's
hiding.
yeah.
Underwater.
We're here, don't panic.
Man, you can do yeah.
I can't do it because I'm smiling. I can't do it. So the submarines don't exist. And then the person who's responsible for state expenditure of money on defence went, okay, cool. Where did the money go then? We don't know. $12 billion for submarines just didn't get used. And that's what he's finding across the board. Now, again, whether you like Trump or hate Trump, whether you like Elon or you hate Elon, it is crazy the levels of inefficiencies.
You would be, this is
He's only been in 2 months. He's found 2 trillion in 2 months.
Back over on this side of the pond, that's what frustrates me about successive UK governments is they cannot get value for money. The system is not set up. That's why they shouldn't tax you so much, because it's best to let people spend their money because the government can't do it effectively. Yeah. And they have proven that time and time again because they don't have even Trump does not have the ability to think long term. He's gone in 4 years. He cannot run again. He cannot run again. And this is what causes, it's democracy and stuff like that. But, this is why you look at what's going on in Dubai and the UAE, because they have that ability to think long term. And, I'm saying that that's right, by the way. I don't want to, I do think democracy is better. But it does allow you to get stuff done.
It does, doesn't it? Well, there you go. It wasn't an interesting fact or quote. It was just some Elon Musk stats for you there.
Well, on next week's interesting fact or quote of the week, it's funny you should talk about that because I've got what is the size of the world's economies for our interesting fact or quote of the week. So tune in. We'll be doing it in about 45 minutes. You're going to have to wait a couple of days.
Right, shall we get to today's guest, shall we?
Tell us about it,
So,
JD.
Toby, I know we touched on it at the beginning of the show. Let's just quickly recap for everyone who might have just joined us late in the party. Not that you can join a podcast late, can you? Because you've pressed the play button. But Toby is from a company called Northshore Coffee. You can check them out, northshorecoffee.co.uk. That's a interesting URL. He's been trading about 10 years. He's doing an estimated monthly revenue of 135,000 smackaroonies. He's got 8 core team members with 30 staff. But he's got some challenges, people. That's what people get involved in the podcast for. Challenge number 1, biggest challenge, is choosing how to grow the business. Challenge number 2, current company and the financial structure of the business. And challenge number 3, choosing how to build and structure a team for growth. We asked Toby, where do you want to be in 1 year, Toby? And he said, I want to have a clear company, team and growth structure with a fully functioning roastery and opening 2 further coffee shop locations. We said to Toby, that sounds great. What does the business look like when it's finished? He said, I want to have multiple coffee shop locations nationwide with a central coffee roastery HQ in Newcastle. Why, man? A thriving online subscription and wholesale business. The why I know was unnecessary, and he didn't put that in. I've just added that for effect. Do you make the profit that you want to make? And if so, what is it? He says, not just yet. He's future-proof. He will, though. He'll get there, won't he? Our current coffee shops run at around 15% operating margin. We have 3 shops and a small fleet of coffee vans that we also run around the same profits on. So 200 grand for these businesses combined. We've just built a new coffee roastery where we will be roasting and selling coffee to our own shops and beyond. The roastery is currently losing about £1,000 a month. Then we said to him, what do you spend your day-to-day time doing in the business? This is always very interesting for people. He said, the majority of my time since October was overseeing the construction and the setting up of our new coffee roasting facility. And I was also unwell for a period, so I'm just getting back to things properly now. My day-to-day consists of building the new coffee roastery business, overseeing the finances, and operations for all the stores and the vans. This is generally a weekly catch-up with the managers, working with our new social media manager on content, working closely with our new wholesale customers to maintain a solid relationship. And then he's got a bunch of questions that he would like to ask you. This is right in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
It is.
I wish he was in London. Roasteries.
I wish we could supply him.
Well, or he could supply you. Either way, there could be. You're less interested in that, aren't you?
No, it's not that. I mean,
into action. If they were assessing the podcast, I'd say show a bit more enthusiasm for reciprocal value. Should we get him on the pod?
Yeah, let's get him on
the pod. Hey, Toby, how are you?
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University.
This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Hi, gents. Good, thanks. Are you all right?
We are very well, thank you, my friend. So obviously we've given a little bit of a synopsis of you in the business, my friend. But tell us in your own words, give us the origin story of this wonderful coffee establishment.
So I guess got going around 10 years ago. I moved back to New Zealand, which is where I got quite interested in the whole coffee thing. Started with just one kind of little coffee cart going down the local market and stuff in Newcastle. I was still kind of working on the side there, so it was more of like a part-time thing for me. I then managed to buy a kind of fully functioning coffee van a few years later. Was sort of hitting the events, kind of festivals and stuff quite big. And then I had a really kind of a big year lined up for 2020, and then COVID happened, and it was a little bit scary for a bit. And then I luckily managed to get a pitch for the coffee van in a suburb in Newcastle. Just was more just kind of something to do, really, to kind of keep me going. And then that through COVID ended up just going berserk, really. So we had a really, really good couple of years with that. And I guess that kind of really brought the business to life in Newcastle, and kind of gave us a really good kind of cash injection. Because as you know, at that time, the government were being really kind to businesses with a lot of help and stuff. And then since then, I opened our first sort of bricks and mortar store in the city centre of Newcastle. And then after that bought another business, opened another shop in a suburb, and then just finished works on our brand new coffee roastery just outside the city centre. So yeah, we're kind of operating the three shops, the coffee vans and the brand new roasting facility.
I've got so many questions. Let's kick off, Toby.
Yeah.
What is your average sales per day in each shop? Have you got, how many shops? You got three, haven't you?
Yeah. So three shops, and one of the coffee vans actually, we have a few vans, but one of them's actually situated still in that permanent spot that we had in COVID. And we're doing anywhere between 200 and 300 sales a day from each site.
200 and 300 pounds.
Sorry. Oh, do you mean revenue? Sorry, not amount of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you mean for each shop or like in total?
Each shop. I just wanted to see if there's a swing between each shop.
So the newest shop is around about £1,000 a day. The other shop, which is a little bit further outside of Newcastle, is anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500. The shop in the city centre is anywhere between £500 and £800 a day, and then same for the coffee van, which is located in the same position.
So the coffee van makes around 500, 800 a day as well.
It does about through the week it's more around say between 500 and 600, weather dependent, and then the weekends everywhere it's much busier. Yeah, and obviously the weekends with the vans, we put the other vans out in markets and all that kind of stuff. So
there is a point to what I'm coming to. And then the van, how many staff operate the van?
So we have one member of staff who will go and kind of set it up in the morning, kind of logistics, and they'll stay there. So they'll work from about 6 till 9, and then the barista will come in about 7. They'll work together between 6 and 9, which is a busy period. And then it's just one member of staff from up until 4 o'clock until we close, and the logistics person comes back to kind of take stuff out and take it back to the unit and stuff.
And then we're going now to the three shops. How many staff per shop do you have on if it's £1,000 day, 15?
Yeah, so £1,000 day in one of the shops. We have 3 members of staff. £1,000 day in the other shop, which is a little bit further outside in Newcastle because it's a much smaller footprint. We managed to do that on 2 staff. And then the shop in the city centre again is 2 staff. It's more of like a split shift, so they're kind of working together through the busy bit, and then one leaves and the other one stays.
And do you produce dashboards and monthly management accounts to track the profitability of each location?
I do it through P&Ls. So I'll touch base with our accountants, and we'll get monthly P&Ls for each place to kind of see where our spend is with everything, and if we're kind of on track to kind of where I want to be with them.
Do you feel like loads of cash comes in and it just all goes out?
Yeah. Yeah, with the shops, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think no one would I get it because I'm bloody in it. But you take £1,000, 20% on the VAT. And what are your staff rates? About 30%, are they, of your turnover goes on staff, or a bit more?
Yeah, we had a good look at it actually the last couple of months, where we were around about, we were a bit over about 35, so we've managed to shave them down.
So 35,
30, yeah.
35 is, it does seem to be the new average now on staffing costs for leisure and hospitality. It just seemed, I've said this on the pod before, when I started out, you aimed for 25%, and I started in 2007. And now it's gone to 35%, and everyone's just gone, yeah, that's what it is, and that's what we accept, which is a huge increase. And it just means that the cost of wages, and people don't earn enough, but it's the cost of wages has not caught up with how much you can charge. Because really, we all should be charging £10 for a latte, because 35% of that, well, you think now, look, just think, if you was charging £10 for a latte, 55% of that would be, well, whatever. Sorry, no. Well, what do you charge for a latte in where you are?
We're at £3.50. We have sort of 3 sizings with the latte and a couple other drinks. Yeah, about £3.
So if you just think it's £3.50, 55% of that £3.50 goes on VAT and labour.
Yeah.
We haven't paid the rent. We haven't paid the coffee. We haven't paid for the coffee cup. We haven't paid the business rates. We haven't paid the insurance premium tax. We haven't paid the insurance. We haven't paid the green levy tax on our utilities. Like, it's tough. And then when you put on your thing here that you're making a 15% operating profit, that's not a net profit. That's before your head office costs, is it? Per store?
Yes. Which I can kind of go into this a bit more with the kind of how we've kind of set everything up. But yeah, we're sort of about 50% operating profit from each place. Yeah.
So if you've got a coffee shop on average doing I'm just averaging yours out, between 300 and £360,000 per year, each one of those coffee shops is contributing 40, 45, 55,000 pounds up to Topco head office, which would pay you, your accountant, all the central stuff. Yeah. You need to have like 20 of them, don't you, to start making the decent money. And then it's about managing the quality then at that stage. And that's been a challenge even in our size. Managing quality as you grow is really difficult because you need middle management, and you have to ask yourself, can you afford it?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think if you did mystery shops and secret shopping, like I've said, but that's going to cost you a few £100. You're like, well, is that the right thing to do? Or, and this is what business owners juggle. Where is it right to put my very limited pounds of valuable operating profit to really improve the business?
Yeah, this is it. I think this is one thing I think about a lot is I see companies, I guess, who are quite similar to us who open 10, 20, 30 shops, and they'll obviously have a kind of central management team and different people on different salaries doing different things. And I think, well, if you're only getting this amount per shop, where's all the money coming from to pay all these expenses?
Well, it's because it's private equity and venture capital backed, and they plan it out to lose money for the first couple of years, but then it's like a hockey stick. If you can scale it up, it goes. That is how they plan it. Now, the frugal entrepreneur can't do that, but that is exactly what they plan to do. They put in, I mean, that is the private equity venture capital playbook. They go, let's open one hotel. Let's open a hotel. Let's buy a hotel. Let's put in the managing director, the CFO. We've got one hotel. But within 5 years, we're going to have 25. And they front load the team, which, you know, the entrepreneur that is bootstrapped.
Can't cash flow it, can you?
Just won't do that.
No.
And by the way, let's be absolutely clear. Lots of private equity and venture capital do get it wrong. But for, you know, 2 in 10, it really goes to Mars, and
which covers the other 8 in 10 they got wrong.
Yeah. And that is their playbook, and they know how to do that, you know. And I mean, welcome to the motivational show that is James Sinclair. I'm sorry. I mean, I feel your pain. I see like the Rossi parlour, you know, 1.5 million turnover. I think this year that parlour will make around £200,000. Just had to pay for a new dishwasher, $5,000. Just had to pay for a new fryer, $5,000. And in the last year, we have CapExed another 120 grand on new freezers and stuff, new furniture. We're down to 70 grand. But I bought that place and I'm servicing the loan. So I don't see any money into the James Sinclair personal bank account running that place probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
After the cost of buying it and the continue, because I mean, I see that on your, you know, I bought 10 Francino coffee machines, and that's, I think, what you use in your site. Great British company, but you know, people don't understand that coffee machines are thousands of pounds days out, you know, and they like breaking. You know, if you're using stuff all the time, you know, the air conditioning's broken, you know, or I know this is broken. For the business owner, you know, every day once you start running, and you'll know this, won't you, Toby? Like once you've got multiple sites, there's always something to replace, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with our coffee vans, it's one thing after the other. It's like £1,000 1 week for something, same again the next week. So yeah, it's a lot of money. I think it's things that you don't think about really when you first get into it. You think, oh, I'll be doing something that I'm really passionate about and I love, and it'll be great. And then you kind of get in.
Well, there is, I mean, I'm, you know, there is solutions. I mean, some coffee shops and some of do very well, and you have to stay at it for a long time and you build up your customers. And I think there's some good news for you coming, Toby, that I think this period that we're going to go through is going to flush out some people. As long as you can stay in it. I mean, just talking about theme parks here in the UK, have you heard of theme parks go bust in the last 10 years? Not really. 2 have gone in the last 2 weeks. One in Pembrokeshire, Oakland Theme Park, and Flambard's Theme Park in Cornwall or in Devon. There's 2 theme parks gone, and they basically, because of the national minimum wage going up, business rates changing, they can see the writing on the wall in April, and it's not even April yet, and they've just gone, let's hang up the keys now and let's call it a day. Pubs and hospitality, and do you know what really winds me up about this is, you know, when we had someone on from Spain,
that's right,
Toby, a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? That they've got a chocolate and ice cream coffee shop style thing in Spain. They're paying 10% VAT. And
it's nuts. It is nuts.
If you had 10% VAT, your life would literally change overnight.
Yeah, oh my God, it would. I mean, it's
just hear your tonality, right? It's like lottery winning conversations. But what happens is, you know, Toby, how many times have you managed to pay your staff but not pay you certain weeks and months because there's not been enough cash flow?
See,
he knows. And so you take on all the risk. You take all the personal guarantees. By the way, I've been there many, many, many times as well. Everyone's getting paid, but you. I mean, you had that in your podcast agency, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, but what happens in hospitality and leisure, to be fair, if you would have kept going on that, JB, I'm not slagging you off, but if you had the staying power to stay at it for 10 years, it would have turned.
Yeah.
And it would have become something probably very valuable.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's tough. But actually in hospitality and leisure, it never really gets better for people. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I mean, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, You know, they're running that pub, they're running that
Yeah.
restaurant like it's a religion. It's like a way of life, and they just have to keep it going.
Yeah.
A
It's a labour
friend of
love, I
mine
think, for a lot of people.
had a big retail business in the 80s, and he said you either need one or you need 20.
Yeah,
The
absolutely,
bit in between is the trough of sorrow.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
I mean, I'll just give you another idea, Toby. You know, if Domino's Pizza, you know, one of the little things that they aim to make 40 to 60,000 pounds per location, and the most franchisees have 10 or 15 of them, because 40 on its own is like, well, let's go and get a job.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But Domino's know that. They've seen that business model, and there's lots of support on the branding and the marketing. But if you've got 10 and you make 40 grand and you've got a brilliant brand, which, you know, whether you like it or not, Domino's is an internationally recognised brand. There's no two ways about it. And I do think that brand does help them sell more pizzas.
Definitely.
So that's how tough it is. You know, we talk about that it comes up all the time, the 10% thing. You know, you're turning 350 grand, and really you're getting around 35 to 50 grand's worth of operating profit per store. But if you take away your head office costs, you know, probably making 20 grand net per store.
Yeah, it's tight. It is.
So I think you're doing the right things by doing the wholesale coffee thing. What did it cost you to set up your roastery?
At the minute, £150,000. We think we're probably going to have to put in a bit more money though. But it's operating now to a degree which we're happy with. I think in the past I've kind of done things and left them and had to go back to them later on, where I kind of wish I'd just done everything at the start. So there's probably a bit more money.
I'll tell you why you did that, because I know, because I've been in it. We'd all do it properly if we had Elon Musk's bank account. You know, that's the difference. You know, you're bootstrapped, aren't you? You go, oh, we should have spent that extra 70 grand. Where's the 70 grand? But one of the things, look, what we talk about, and I've been making loads of stuff on the main channel, talking about models. What you've got is an okay model. This is a constant thing that reappears on all of the podcasts, on all of people that come to my seminars. Most people are peddling an okay or a just to get by model. And I think that's most coffee shops. I think there's Costa Coffees doing similar revenues to you, by the way. And I know there's lots of Costa Coffee shops. I sort of snuck in on a conference once before. I really shouldn't say that out publicly. I was speaking at a conference, and it was the Costa National Conference thing, and I just snuck in at the back, and they were saying about that's me in trouble. That was years ago. It was years ago. I was under 18 when I was business speaking at a conference. Anyway, and I was in, and they were talking about, you know, how many of their shops don't make them money. You know, and they were making way more money from their vending machines in petrol stations because there's no staff and there's no cost of sales and stuff like that.
So they need the bricks and mortar for the brand to get you to go to the hands-free vending machine, don't they? Yeah.
But what I always urge people to really look at your model and say, well, here's the things that we could tweak. If this was my brand, if this was my business, I would be looking to find big factories with lots of people in and looking to take over their contract catering. So I would be going to a factory in Newcastle that's got 2,000 staff. They've got an okay catering model. And you say, look, we can come and take this over. We can put the coffee shop in. It's usually subsidised by the company. You get a 5-year contract. You know exactly what you're doing each day. They can be very profitable. Putting those contracts into the business makes the business more valuable. It's a great way of building the brand. People will see your coffee shops, and you can then, I mean, you're doing the Costa thing there. You know, you're using your shops to hook you into the contract catering, like Costa are using their shops to get in the vending machines. And if you expand down south, there's a brilliant coffee shop specialist food services company called Cafe Deli Wholesale that would love to supply you, baby. We don't come to Newcastle.
No, too far north.
I mean, I don't know if I've helped, but I do think I think you'll open a couple more shops. You'll be stretched more. You're going to probably do that anyway because you can't help yourself because you're an entrepreneur. Let's just face facts. That's what we do. You're going to spend more money on your roastery. You're going to try and look for scale. But I urge you to look at your models. And if you can get some of that contract catering in there, you will find me in a few years' time and send me a message on Instagram and go, James, this has changed my life. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good business, and someone will then want to buy you.
How are you finding these contract catering?
Well, I don't do it. We supply lots of them through Cafe Deli. I've pitched for a couple of them before, and we haven't won the pitch, but we're up against some big people. One we got into the last two, but if I had more time, I should focus on that more, and we should, you go out for tender a lot of the time. If you can go and set up a roastery, if you can go and set up a coffee shop from scratch, you can win a few tenders. But what's the thing we always say? If you put your mind to it, you'll get it. Whatever the thing is.
Yeah, definitely. And so you said with these types of things, they're things that these companies will often pay for, so they'll pay for
they subsidise it because they don't want you charging their staff £3.90 for a latte, so they'll go. But here's the good news for you, Toby. It comes with a fully fitted kitchen. They will all the capex they own, but for their staff to go, we've got a Costa brand in here, or whatever Toby's brand is, or we've got Marks and Spencer's taking over the kitchen. When you go into hospitals, you're seeing there's a Costa concession, or there's a Marks and Spencer's in there, and if you go into service stations and you see a Greg's and a Marks and Spencer's, that's usually still run by the service station under franchise.
I've got you.
Because they want those brands in there. But, you're probably not going to get the 10,000 place workforce, but you might get the 1,000 place workforce, and they will say, we've got 1,000 members of staff. They spend this much each day. You're finished at 1:30. You don't have to worry, about wastage because it's all very predictable. Because that's a big problem with, laissez-faire hospitality like you've got. On a rainy day, you've staffed it up, you've done it all, and no one turns up. On a sunny day, for example, it all fills up, and you've got to staff it up, plan it, and do the very best you can. But with those types of businesses, I call them cruise ship businesses. I want to own a cruise ship. You've got 5,000 people going on for 5 days and 5,000 people going off, not 500 and then 2,000 and then they're not coming on Tuesday. They're on the bloody sea. They're not moving. So you can actually really plan your business effectively. That's a big problem,
good advice.
With hospitality and leisure, is the peaks and troughs. There will be days where you really do feel like the Sultan of Azerbaijan, and then other days you just want to cry and rock in the corner. I know, because I'm there, baby.
There's some questions that you put in when you applied as well, Toby. So let's definitely cover a couple of those off quickly, because I think there's some really insightful questions that you've asked. So questions for Jimbo. I'd like to ask for advice on raising funds to grow the business. The roastery needs more money spent on it to complete the range of things, but I believe we will also need to spend more than we anticipated marketing and advertising. I would also like to open 2 more coffee shops this year. I believe I've nailed our model for this, and this will also allow our roastery to sell these shops more of our coffee. So fundraising for this kind of business, Jimbo, what say you?
If this was my business and I was doing 135 grand a month, there's a big failure of what you're doing. You said you get your accountant to do your monthly profit and loss. Yep. You're running a 1.5 million, soon to be a £2 million business, and you're relying on your accountant to tell your numbers. I wouldn't be paying myself, and I would be putting an accountant or a bookkeeper or a financial controller in-house, and stop your accountant doing it. You will have support. You will have a counsellor, someone that understands numbers, that's going to make the business better on financials. And that, to me, is the first thing that if I owned this business, if I invested in you or I bought your business, the first thing I would be doing is putting a financial controller to try and save you money on utilities, to give you a P&L per store, to create daily dashboards, so to look at average customer value, to make savings. And I promise you, whatever that costs you, even if they only do 4 days a week or they work during school hours or whatever it is, have it in-house. Have that person sitting next to you, because your financial literacy and getting you fit for finance will go tenfold. You're going to go and do all these things, by the way, because it's obvious that you're an entrepreneur. You will open the 2 shops. You will invest in your roastery. You're going to do all that stuff. What I would do is focus on improving the model and getting some contract catering in, because that means you don't have to finance that, but it would give you instant cash flow and profitability and predictable cash. Then I would probably go and open the 2 more stores and improve the roastery.
Okay. Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. I think definitely having the bookkeeper in-house
don't be a wally. Get that. You can't be like, they'll do your payroll, they'll do your VAT returns. I guarantee that you're missing stuff on your VAT returns because it's not in-house.
Oh yeah.
As soon as it's in-house, they'll be free. You know, whatever you're paying your what are you paying your accountant to do your P&L each month?
For everywhere, I can tell you.
And they're doing your VAT returns and all that, yeah?
Yeah, it's about £600 a month for everything.
This is what's going to happen. You're going to pay them £600 a year to do your year-end accounts, yeah? And then the rest is in-house. So you've got to find probably another 24 grand on top of that to have someone in-house do it all. I tell you, your stress levels will completely diminish as well, because you are going to have a consigliere, as the mafia say, and in-house, none of this work from home. You know, you want them to go to stores, you know, help you, advise you. You want them, you know, showing you the P&L, teaching you why they're doing this, the way they're structuring things. Then when you go and want to raise finance, literally, if I'm a bank manager and go, right, this is my financial controller, works in-house, sits next to me, you know, back of my bank manager's thinking, yeah, baby, let's write this loan out. Because having financial literacy and being fit for finance in-house just makes raising money much easier. And look what you've achieved. Look, mate, you know, you've achieved some great things. You're running multi-sites. You've built a roastery. You've probably got really expensive loans to get all this stuff up using, you know, like Square or, you know, cash finance. Through. Are they taking money from the PDQ off of each day and all that palaver?
Well, we do use Square, and they do offer loans. I actually have managed to use my own cash for this, for the roastery and stuff. So, but yeah,
But you would have done all that stuff in the past, I'm sure, and you know.
Yeah, we've done like business loans and all that stuff, to help finance other stuff. So yeah.
But see, if you could get a couple of contract catering things. Right, and you trundle into HSBC and go, look, we've got £2.5 million business. These are our 2 new contracts that we've got for the next 5 years. That's predictable cash flow, blah, blah, blah. This is our financial controller, works in-house, sits with us. They're going to be the FD one day. We do all of our financials in-house. You know, they don't like hospitality and leisure, but they will make exceptions for the rules where you've got contracts. And contract catering they love, by the way. They absolutely love, because it's predictable. It's like childcare. It's like a solicitor, it's like an accountancy firm. It's all predictable. You know, see, that's what I'm trying to do, try and tweak your model to make you fit for finance.
Yeah, definitely. I think that way I'd probably never kind of thought about that route before. So seems like really good advice.
That's because you're in it, mate. I know. That's why you have to get out. You know, go to some seminars. Make sure you're reading books. Listen. Do you listen to this podcast? Is that how you find out about us?
Yes, that's exactly how. I listen to the podcast, watch the videos. I've actually ordered some books that you've recommended. I haven't got around to reading them yet, but I will.
That's why, like, going to seminars can be really good for people, because you've booked the ticket and it's forcing you out of environment for a couple of days. Not just mine, you know, although I do think my seminars are great.
Oh no, yeah.
But anything that personally develops you, that, you know, I always say that it's a great example of this. When you go on holiday, your thinking improves. I just don't know. You know, you're walking along the beach, even with your kids. You know, like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, inspiration strikes, doesn't it?
Because your brain is relaxing, isn't it? It's recovering and repairing.
And I think that's what seminars do. And, you know, I do believe that.
There's another great question that you asked, Toby. We'll chuck this at Jimbo as the final one. So you asked, how do I advertise and market the roastery, online or wholesale side of the business? I've always had the coffee shops, and this side of the business is pretty new to me. A lot of people we have approached so far do not seem impressed in partnering with us, even though I believe that our product is fantastic.
I mean, I've got some bad news for you here. I think...
wow, this really has been a wonderful podcast.
I was trying to swerve it, but JB's put it right up because I didn't want to... I think being a food services sort of business, providing coffee, it's quite commoditized. There's lots of people doing it in the country. So you're not got a unique selling point. People... when I set up the when I bought the Rossi Ice Cream Company, I thought it would be amazing. We would just sell loads of ice cream because of my panache, and we would have the brand. But what I learned about that was transport and distribution. People are lazy. They don't want to just buy their coffee from one place. They don't want to just buy their ice cream from one place. They want to go to a place like Cafe Deli, wholesale, and buy everything in one place. And that's why... That's why we don't have butchers and,
greengrocers.
That's why we've got the supermarket, because human beings are a process of convenience. It's why we don't have wind-up windows anymore. We have electric windows. It's why we don't have maps anymore. We have, satellite navigation. But that's what we want. And I think unless you build up a really powerful brand, I think it's difficult. And I don't want to sit here and say it's easy. If you did really want to get it going, maybe a B2C arm to it, but you spend loads of money on Google ads and Facebook ads, and you don't make any money on the sale, but you have a lifetime value thing, hoping that these people will come back to you in the future. But even then, people very quickly fall back into convenience of going, I'll just get it from Ocado, I'll just get it from Sainsbury's. And businesses are the same. Why in my team frustrates me so much. We spend hundreds of thousands of pounds a year on Amazon because of convenience. They need something, they know they can get it next day, they can quickly do it on their iPhone. You're a busy business owner as well. You probably got a food supplier, and you probably make your decision of where you're getting your food ultimately on transport and ease of getting it first, then quickly becomes price. And that's what I say about Amazon now. We've spoke about this loads on the podcast, haven't we, Jamie? They're not the cheapest anymore. They did start out on a price war, but we all buy convenience first, and then it's not going to rip us off.
I bought £2,000 worth of sound gear last week. I didn't even bother to shop around. I was like, because I can get it tomorrow. 2,000 quid's worth of sound gear. And I know I could probably shop around and save
a couple of hundred quid,
but I was like, it's not worth your time to do it.
And if it goes wrong, Amazon will sort it out. That's another.
Do you think with Toby's business though, because have you branded the roastery as Northshore Coffee Company as well?
Yes. We've rebranded it as Northshore Coffee Roasters.
You can't just
a little bit of a.
Toby, I don't want you to think that I don't think it's impossible. I want to buy a coffee roasting company, but I would buy one.
Here we go. This is the upside we're looking for, Toby.
No.
You're getting an offer.
No, listen.
Deborah Meaden's in. Come on, Meaden.
I wouldn't buy yours because it's not doing over $1 million of revenue.
Jesus Christ.
It doesn't fit my rules. But I do think it's...
the question I was going to pose to you, do you think it's worth, because obviously it's the coffee shops and the vans, it's going to be a very hard sell. If you've got Jimbo's Coffee Company and now you're stocking Northshore Coffee, which is also a brand locally, do you not think?
Because you can white label it for people, and that's what... I've looked at buying a few coffee roasting companies, and lots of it's white labelled.
Right, fine.
They have their own signature brand and white label for others.
So would you recommend doing that? So not being North Shore, almost being, south of the border coffee or whatever.
And without seeing your road, that's why I asked. I know if he's only, sorry about this, Toby, because I've done quite a lot of work into this. You spend 150 grand on your fit out. If you're doing it properly and you want to offer people competitive, you've probably got to spend £1 million to do it right.
Yeah.
It's got to be the big gear. It won't be efficient enough to give people a savings, and you're probably buying in the green beans at 6 or 7 quid, and then you got to put your margin up, and you're selling it for 15, 16, and the big guys can sell it for 13, and just because of economies of scale. what we've just done there is quite proprietary talk, which I was trying not to get into, but
I think we get it enough, even from the outside looking in. You're like, okay, fine.
And then you've got service, and that's the thing. Will people go and spend £1 million on equipment knowing that they haven't got the contracts? That's why my mind is always go and buy it. It's got 2, 3, 4 million of turnover, like I've done with Cafe Deli. Do you know, the thing is, thinking about buying some coffee shops that you can rebrand that are in a good place, don't discount that, Tobes, because do you know buying a business has a 600% more success rate than starting a business?
Does it?
Which is big numbers.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And you can probably pick them up for next to nothing. You'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Do you think that would that be part of a strategy that you would deploy then, if there isn't the cash flow or the bank funding to go for a roastery? Would you go on a spree and like do a groundswell, so you like take over an area?
Yeah, I think buying coffee shops will be one of the easy. If I wanted to own 50 coffee shops in 2025, I think I could do it with my eyes closed.
This sounds like a YouTube video, Chuds.
Which I'm not going to do, but I think it's very easy to buy up coffee shops.
So would you suggest that as a...
No. But I mean, if they're profitable and they're good and there's a few freeholds in there and they've got, there's nothing wrong, Toby, by the way, seeing coffee shops for sale, because you might learn some good stuff from owners that are getting out. They might just say, you might just pick up 1 or 2 things that could be game changing for your business. It's the best free consultancy you get.
And would you say that would be a better strategy than looking to sort of go to find a shop, take a 10-year lease, open a new shop?
Well, just say this, right? Say you find a coffee shop, it's really well established, it's been there for 50 years, it's got regular customers, turns £500,000 and they'll let you buy it for 50 grand. And then you say, I'll give you 10 grand now and I'll pay you the rest over the year. So you haven't got to cash flow it. And then you've all of a sudden got another $500,000. It's all proven. And then you slowly put the Northwood brand onto it, or what is it, Northwood? Northshore brand onto it. And you're guaranteed that, 600% more chance of success. You don't open the door trying to beg people to come in. You open the door. Yeah. You've already got 200-300 customers coming in each day. It's already making money. Despite it's being run by people that don't want to run it anymore.
Yeah. And there must be a few of those kicking around.
A few?
There must be.
A few? There will be loads of people that have got coffee shops that don't have any weekends, evenings or life, and that's all they want. And they are praying that Toby's coming in to give them a bit of money and take their time vampire off of them.
Yeah.
Well, Toby, this might not have been the most inspirational podcast that you've ever been involved in or listened to, but I think it's probably the conversation that you needed. And come back in a year's time and let us know how you get on.
The conclusion is look at your model and tweak it for improvement and profitability.
Yeah. And it's been very helpful.
Don't forget,
it was really, really...
the harder you work on yourself, the books, the seminars, the podcast, the better your business will be. Imagine, what we just had here, I don't know how long, 45, 50 minutes together. Imagine if you was doing 90 minutes, 60 minutes a day on personal development of the Toby brain, what that would do for your business. How often are you spending time like this on personally developing yourself? This not.
Yeah, not enough at the minute.
And that's most business owners, and anyone that's watching this, that's why, when I run Business Masterclass, our 2-day thing, we have the bar in the evening and people go and talk, and they're gassing away like, they're having conversations with other entrepreneurs and business owners that they just wouldn't get with friends and family.
Yeah.
And it's exposing them to new ideas.
Toby, where can people find out about you and your wonderful coffee, mate, especially if they are looking for a new supplier from a beautiful roastery local to Newcastle?
Probably Instagram's the best place for us at the minute, which is Northshore Coffee Co. And we are just in the process of finishing our website, where there'll be an online shop, a link for wholesale and everything like that as well. So yeah, that's probably the best places to find us at the minute.
The branding around this is all fantastic, by the way. It looks fantastic. The content is really, really nice.
Yeah,
really, really good.
Much.
It's as good as it gets in this sector, in my opinion. So there you go. There's what do they call that? A shit sandwich. You serve up something nice at the end for people.
I think that I just, I get frustrated because all of that's good. Like JB's like on your Instagram, the branding, great, I know the quality, the customer service, all will be there. But you can't help but say that sometimes, you'd be deserving really to do £1 million per shop. But even then, if you did £1 million per shop, you probably only make 70, 80 grand. And then out of that, you got cap it. It's my job to tell you that because I'm in it. I get how flipping tough it is, but it's worth it. Tobes, it is worth it. Even if you don't make any money, your customers appreciate you. Well, they do.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, and are you getting ready for April when this tsunami of turnover taxes hit you?
Yeah, we are. We have restructured our sort of staffing model a bit. I think we'll be all right. We put our price up a bit. I think the price increasing, I don't know if you find this as well, is you kind of put your prices up, but you never really see like a huge difference in your revenue because
isn't that sad though? Isn't that sad? You put your prices up and it's just paying more tax.
I always so you put your prices up, but you don't see an increase in the till.
Not massively. I think what happens with us is people,
I agree. Why is that? Like, we're going to put our ice creams up at Rossi in the parlour. We're going to have to go up 50p per ice cream from April when all these turnover taxes.
That's quite a jump, isn't it?
Per
ice cream.
But we will not see. Like, we're not going to see that place take an extra 120 grand. And I don't know how. Where
does it go? Where does the magical 50p go?
Yeah.
If you know, email into the show.
Yeah. It's tough, but you're putting your price. So the answer is if you don't put your price up, will you turn the same? But you got to, haven't you? You just have to put your prices up.
You do, yeah. I don't think anyone likes doing it, but you have to, and so you hope that everyone else will.
You think your shop that does an average of £1,000 a day from April, you hope you put your prices up, and it's now £1,200 a day, so that you can give Rachel Reeves that extra 200 to stand still. But all it does is, what you're trying to do, and it's how I think. Let's open 2 more shops that will give us more revenue that allows us to stand still. It's really flipping hard.
Mm. Well, we wish you well with all of your ventures, mate. It looks fantastic from the outside looking in. Obviously, it has got its struggles. It sounds like the model needs a little bit of a tweak, but we do sincerely wish you well. And we look forward to seeing you maybe at one of Jimbo's events or, circle back next year. Tell us, which strategy did you go down the route of? Did you find some contract catering gigs? But thank you for being on the podcast, mate. We sincerely appreciate it. And we wish you well.
Take care.
Thanks,
see you soon, Tobes.
Cheers, mate. Much.
Bye.
Cheers.
There you go, Toby, all the way from Northshore Coffee Company. Tough old chat, that, isn't it? But it's the reality.
I find the ones where I've got the most experience are the toughest ones, I find.
Because you're in it. So it's easy to give
There was
advice.
That bit he said, you put your price up and you just don't notice that. I do feel, that the Rossi Parlour has made me realise how, a lot of people just put your price up 10% and you lose 10% of your customers, you're still up. I have noticed how price sensitive people are.
Mm. Do you think you'll get pushback at Rossi?
We haven't got a choice because the wages are going to go up that much in April.
But people don't know that, do they? Their family of 4 just going, well, hang on a second, this £10 round of ice creams is now 12 quid. Mm. Everyone only really cares about themselves, don't they? Which is understandable because not everyone's a business owner. Like small business owner would be like, 50p extra than it was last week. I get it. Rachel Reeves might as well stand outside Rossi and just lick people's ice cream. Mightn't she? Just licking away. Flipping Rachel Reeves. Leave the ice creams alone, Rachel. What's wrong with you?
And she's been to Rossi. I told you that. Should we put a picture up on the screen?
Did she?
Yeah,
boot her out next time.
Do you know what I mean? In the edit, Stevie, make sure that I put the picture up. Rachel Reeves
if she
standing
comes back
outside
again,
Rossi, holding a 99.
Oh, God. You should have like snapped half the chocolate off. We've gone, sorry, we can't afford that anymore because we've got to pay you, love. It's not a 99 anymore. It's a 79.3. Sod off. Right. Here we go. Let's rate our wonderful Toby. It's time for the 8 traits of the greats, the point of the show where James Sinclair scrabbles to get his phone to find that message that Shad sent to him. You can't see if you're listening, but if you're watching, you know exactly what's happening. The music comes on, he goes dead behind the eyes, and the realisation that he still doesn't know his own traits of his own greatness.
I know them, but I need to do them in order.
You should get them tattooed on the inside of your arm so you could just look. There you go. Right,
God, do you remember them? What's the first one?
Starts with the end in mind.
Starting with the end in mind. What are we giving him?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, he's up
I
for it.
do actually think he's got that.
Oh, 100% he's got that, yeah.
Passionate. He likes his...
Oh, he loves a coffee, that fella. Yes, he's well passionate. He's got 30 staff. He's building roasteries that you've told him don't bother doing. He loves it.
Wake up and smell the coffee. Untold amounts of resilience. Anyone that's in hospitality and leisure... He's an innovator. I actually think he is.
I do.
Building a coffee roastery and commercial awareness.
Oh, he didn't.
Not enough.
He knew it.
We can't give him that.
Okay. Can we give him a half? No, James might be like, hey, I have it.
Relationships, people. I think he's got that.
Oh, yeah. I loved him. Loved him.
Master marketer, we didn't ask him about that, so we're not answering that. We're giving him
socials. Looks very good, though.
Yeah. Well, he can't have 8 because he's
what? Because we're incompetent. Fine. That seems fair. Because me and you are idiots, that he has to suffer. We're like Rachel Reeves because we're idiots.
He's done very well and he deserves it. That's a 6. Pick up sticks.
Pick up sticks. Tell you what, wasn't a lovely conversation, but it's a lovely tasty result at the end there, isn't it?
It's a 6. Give him a licks.
That can't be the tagline for it. That cannot be the tagline for it.
We do need to come up with
taglines for each one.
Each one.
Yeah.
It's a 1 and that's none.
The business will be done. He's only scored a 1. Yeah, that works. Right.
Yes.
One and done. 2 and poo. I mean, it just stands to reason, doesn't it?
We haven't given them 1 or a 2 out or anyone, have we? So we only have to work it out from 4 onwards.
A lot of people are asking me to come on as the guest. I think we can save a 1 or a 2 for that day. I think
but we only have to think of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if we do get 1 or 2.
Well, 7 is obviously heaven. 8 is great.
8 is great.
5 and 6 we need to work on. We can talk about this off air. Tons are going to be fuming in a minute.
Wait, if you've got any idea, no, we need to ask them in the comments.
Do it.
Come on, give us the saying or the
phrase,
lingo,
the
phrase,
the jingle.
The phrase. Yeah, for each one.
Don't worry with 1 and done. We've got
I think
2 and poo. We're good. We need support with 5 and 6.
And if we really like your ones, we'll give you an ad in the next show.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's
a
prize money can't buy.
We should,
unless you're Revolut.
We should do that. We should give free adverts for stuff. We should make people do stuff for an advert.
Well, we have started doing that called Win of the Week, really, when people can
but you
be
just
bothered.
get like free gear. I don't even hear about it. It was like, some vegan sweets turned up. Cheers, what have I got from it again?
Don't say that because now they're going to be disappointed.
They did turn up.
Wild Things sent us some free sweets. And they were called Wild Things, weren't they? And we ate them in the office. They were so delicious, we couldn't even make it to the show.
There you go.
I didn't like that. I did like
What do I get for doing this podcast? Nothing. I literally drive across counties to get here. I get nothing from it.
That's not true.
That's not true. I mean, you stick with me. Half your business.
How many more followers has James Burt Official had
enough.
Since you've been on this podcast?
To class it as official. The unofficial account has got more followers than I've had off the back of this show, I think.
There we go.
Here you go. It's time for this, though. Now, don't forget all about this. It's time for the business quiz.
It's Jim versus JB on the quiz that's businessy.
Knowledge
and it's fun. Which one's clever and
which one's dumb?
Izzy Wizzy.
Let's get quizzy. Here we go. Starbucks is the big... Oh, so in case for context, in case you've never seen this before, inside this quizzical folder, there is a quizzical question.
We're just assuming.
We're just assuming everybody knows.
That stupid little features.
So Starbucks is the biggest coffee chain in the world as of the end of 2024. How many Starbucks stores are there worldwide? Starbucks is the biggest coffee chain in the world. As of the end of 2024, how many stores does Starbucks have worldwide? That's really annoying. I should know that because I listened to a very good podcast. That'd be a good one for Toby to listen to. Wandery did a whole thing called Business Wars about Starbucks. Go and check it out. It's a
I
very good
listen-
series.
It's very good. Very good.
Very good.
But they're massive in
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
When I'm in China, they are everywhere. Starbucks.
Starbucks. That's how they call it out in China. Starbucks. I think I'm going to go. Okay, I'm good. I've locked it in. Stop Googling it. Stop asking ChatGPT. Mate, this podcast has been about 3 days so far. Can you hurry up? Just pick a number. Work us through your maths then. Come on then.
I was thinking.
Because you've not even pressed the buttons.
No, I was thinking it's a lot. I was thinking it's a lot.
Absolutely.
I was just thinking.
One of the best business phrases. I'm thinking.
Because what people do is, I think we are, most international brands, if we got questions like this, we think of the West, but it is massive in Asia.
Yes.
I mean, it's every hotel I've stayed in China, there's a Starbucks concession in the.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's massive. How many did you get?
I went 6,500.
Oh, well, I'm going to go 100,000.
Really?
No, actually, I'm going to go 50,000 because I know that I'll definitely win.
50,000. I'm going 6,500.
6,500.
Yeah, but I'm only checking
Give him
stores.
the spoon.
not-
Don't even need to open it. Even
He's
Chad's
chucked
nuts. 6,500. The biggest chain. I reckon it costs 6,500 in.
How many did you say?
I said 50,000.
What did you say originally?
I said 100,000. But
Okay,
when
so which
you
one
went
you-
so low, I thought I'll
Which
go
one are you sticking with?
50,000.
You sure?
Yeah.
Fine. The answer's 38,137.
Wow.
There is a Starbucks
Come on,
in all
come on.
50 states, in all 50 US states and in 85 countries. They've added an average of 2 stores daily since 1987.
Wow.
2 stores a day.
But honestly, the story of Starbucks is really worth a good listen to.
Yeah, it's great.
Because that's got twists and turns. The beginning of it is the best bit, isn't
Yes.
it? Like how that, Harold Schwartz, I think his name is. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Harold Schwartz.
He's quite good to listen to and watch.
He's on Masterclass, isn't
Yeah,
he? One
I've
of those,
done that.
like, yeah.
But any interviews as well on YouTube,
Yeah.
he's a wise chap. There was rumours that he was going to run for president,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, there we go.
And he went back and run it, didn't he? And he wrote a book called Forward when he came back to
Yeah.
improve it all. But it's not, apparently they're not doing so well at the moment. Go on, what's the info on Starbucks?
So yes, they're in 85 countries. They've added an average of 2 stores daily since 1987. That is just staggering, isn't it? 2 stores a day. And the caramel macchiato is the most popular drink in the UK.
I do know some other little facts, interesting
'em
facts
at
or
us.
quotes
Go on.
about Starbucks.
We've been here 4 days now, but carry on. Let's just see if we can long this out for 3 days.
There's something about the Frappuccino. They own the name Frappuccino.
Do they?
They got the copyright on that. And they done a partnership, which they didn't really want to do. And they was convinced by, I think they're doing that with Mars, aren't they?
PepsiCo, isn't
Or
it?
PepsiCo,
yes.
And they really wanted to do it. And they went, oh, if you really want to do it, we won't do it on our own. And then it just obviously exploded. And
That's right. For the cold drinks
Yeah.
in retail, wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Pepsi had to really come on, we can
Yeah.
do this. They're like, no, not bothered. We don't think it's going to be that big a market.
Oh, it was.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 stores a day.
Because Harold Schwartz didn't want to do Frappuccinos. That was the big famous thing. He went, is this really going to work?
Oh,
and his
really?
team really pushed it. And he said that's one big thing.
Because he
I
was a
got wrong.
coffee purist, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Because he
absolutely.
discovered that he was a coffee buyer, wasn't he, for
Yeah,
another
yeah.
coffee brand.
When Starbucks started out, they were just selling roasted coffee.
That's right.
Because in the 70s, it wasn't,
a thing.
Italy, it was a massive.
That's right. He
cultural
went
thing.
to Italy
That's
on
right,
a buying
yeah.
trip, didn't he? And he watched in the old Italian boys and girls sat in
Fascinating.
the coffee shops.
Starbucks is, because it's a public company, one of the big, one of these Blackstone or Black Rocks owns a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
And his big aim was to get a Starbucks opened in Italy, in one of the famous areas.
Right, okay, yeah.
You know what's there?
The Piazza or something like that.
They roast it as an experience. You can go and watch it on YouTube. I can't remember what area of Italy it was. And this is not what you know, it's who you know, even at that level. And they wanted this old post office to be a a roastery that you could go around, see it being roasted. You can check it all out on YouTube. I'm sure if you put in Starbucks Roastery Italy, you'll be able to go and see it. And they wanted that location. It was in a prime location in Milan, in Italy. And it was owned by Blackstone or BlackRock, one of these massive funds that owns that piece of property. It was just sitting there empty. And Howard saw it. And he found out that Blackstone or BlackRock or one of these funds owned it. They also owned a big chunk of Starbucks, and he just made the call. And no one could get in there for 3 years, but his call got through to the CEO, and then within weeks they had it.
Yeah.
So that just, no matter the size of where you get, connections do make a big thing.
Talking of models as well, going back to the purpose of the conversation we had earlier, isn't it something crazy? Like they've got, so you have the Starbucks preloaded cards. I think there's $2 billion sat in like escrow, effectively.
$1 billion
in pre-funded cards,
loaded up on the cards,
so they can go and trade that money.
And Transport for London. Do you remember when you used to have Oyster cards?
Yes.
You used to have to load up 20 quid.
That's
I
right,
reckon they've had 100 quid off of me that I've never used.
Oh yeah.
Before someone said, just
always bringing it back to poor old Jimbo Sinclair, isn't it?
But then you can just tap your card now,
Yeah.
which saved me a fortune. So
thank God.
But Transport for
Cheers,
London, they've lost that. They've lost that. You used to get me buying them cards, preloading the cash.
Load it and then use it once.
Yeah, then lose it. Oh, really wound me up. But no, anyway.
But I think that's a big part of the business now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The preloaded cards.
That is creating a cash flow cycle where people pay you in advance of the service, and then you can use that cash to run your business. And that's one of the good things about wedding venues, like the wedding. You pay £10,000 deposit 2 years ahead of when you're having the wedding. You can use that to grow the business and do stuff. Yeah.
Well, there you go. It has been a mammoth podcast today, people. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've stuck with us for all 1 hour and 24 minutes of it. You got a dinner you got to go to later. You better tell the family you're not turning up. Tell them you go to the next birthday. Who cares?
I've got to go to that.
But if you have enjoyed this week's episode, please feel free to let us know. You leave us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcast. You can leave us a comment now on Spotify. And don't forget, if you would like to assist us with a jingle, 1 and done, 2 and poo we're good with, but we need support with 5 and 6. Put it in the comments. We'll give you a shout out. And don't forget, if you do support us and help us, apparently we're going to give you some free adverts and stuff.
Well, yeah, if you're in the comments, say what your business is and we'll read it out.
Yeah, we'll shout it out. Oh, is that all? Like we're not going to do anything else for it?
What, do you want us to make an animation?
Well, I thought like if they've got some like merch or whatever, like you could wear it.
Yeah, send it in.
Yeah, send it.
Send in. We're doing Win of the Week. If you've got a great product.
Post it for a punt, we're calling it, aren't we?
That's it.
Post for a
We've
punt.
changed the name. Post it for a punt at James Sinclair, Marsh Farm Road.
I can't wait to see the first box that has that written on it.
If you send us your post it for a punt, we will put it out on the podcast and give you some free adverts if we like the products as well.
Well,
post
there you
it
go.
for a punt. That's great. Post it for a punt.
You've got to be so careful saying that. You've got to be so careful saying that feature.
I didn't even think of that.
Anyway, don't write it. Be careful how you write it as well. Right, we will see you on the next pod. Thanks for being here, people. Goodbye.
It's another feature. See ya. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.